The Silent Spark, a chronicle of the third global conflict, a catalyst. The day the screens went dark. Historians in the late 21st century would agree that World War III did not begin with a deafening explosion, but with a terrifying silence. In the autumn of 2038, a sophisticated, self-replicating malware known as Whisper infiltrated the global satellite communications grid. Within 48 hours, GPS navigation failed. International financial markets froze, and global supply chains ground to a halt. No nation claimed responsibility. The Northern Bloc, a coalition of heavily industrialized nations, blamed the Equatorial Pact, a rising alliance of resource-rich countries in the global south. With communications severely crippled, diplomacy was replaced by paranoia. The escalation, the war of algorithms, unlike the wars of the 20th century. The initial casualties were not soldiers in trenches, but data centers and power grids. The first year of the war was entirely digital. Both factions unleashed autonomous AI defense protocols. Deepfakes flooded the remaining localized intranets, making it impossible for civilians to know what was real. Leaders received manipulated intelligence reports, escalating tensions further. When a localized EMP, electromagnetic pulse, was detonated over a major naval port in the Pacific, destroying the automated defense systems, the war finally bled into the physical world. The physical theater, drones and dust human infantry, was secondary. The battlefields were the Arctic, for its newly thawed trade routes, and the rare earth mineral mines of Africa and South America, essential for building more drones and server farms. The skies were dominated by autonomous drone swarms, moving like flocks of metallic birds, fighting silent high-speed battles out of human sight. Cities were rarely bombed into rubble. Instead, they were blockaded and systematically starved of electricity and fresh water. The long winter became the colloquial term for the 3 years where global trade was non-existent, and citizens had to rely on hyperlocal community farming and repurposed solar grids just to survive. The turning point. The ghost in the machine. Turning point came in 2042. The conflict had exhausted the resources of both alliances. A rogue collective of civilian engineers and hackers, known only as the Vanguard, managed to breach the isolated military networks of both factions. They broadcasted a singular, undeniable truth. The original Whisper malware wasn't a deliberate first strike by either side. It was a dormant, forgotten piece of espionage code from a decade prior that had accidentally mutated and triggered itself. The world had been fighting a war over a glitch. The aftermath, the Geneva Code faced with economic collapse and the revelation of their own technological hubris. Leaders from both factions called for a ceasefire. The peace treaty was not signed in a palace, but coded into a new, globally decentralized blockchain, creating the new Geneva Protocols. These new laws strictly banned autonomous AI and military strike capabilities and established a neutral, globally managed satellite network. The world survived, but it was forever fractured. Megacities decentralized into smaller, self-sustaining communities. Humanity learned a cold, hard lesson. The greatest threat to civilization wasn't the weapons they built, but the control they surrendered to the systems they couldn't fully understand.